You have to capture those casual kinds of moments, and that requires them talking. So if you're not asking them questions and they're not talking, you could have people doing all sorts of workouts, but it's not the same thing because it's not creating a direct connection. You have flex fitness and then pure performance. Right. Google's a little bit confused about both of them.
Yeah, that's the challenge I'm having. So Flex Fitness, those are the franchise gyms. I own two of them, Mount Maunganui and Papamoa. Pure Performance is a concept, and our proof of concept studio is based inside Flex Fitness Papamoa.
Because you're a physiotherapist, so you're doing that inside as part of functional training and multiple things. So that's it's like four different businesses all in one, but they're confused because they share a lot of the same URLs in social media.
That's right, exactly. So like you said, people are getting confused.
Well, Google's getting confused.
And so Pure Performance is a studio concept that we're wanting to launch here in New Zealand and internationally. And the project of Flex Fitness Papamoa took, with COVID and everything else, just blew me out of the water. It's probably been the hardest thing I've ever done. And that's put me on a back foot a bit. But we finally we're up to 550 members at the moment. So we're up to our break even point.
This is total across two locations?
No, so we've got two locations. So we've got our Mount Maunganui gym is about 1,000 members, but it doesn't have any pure performance programming in it. And then our Papamoa one, which is our new one, that's got the escape equipment and it's got the studio built into the gym.
Oh, okay.
And then I finally have someone that are wanting to open a standalone studio in Wanaka. So we're just going through that process now to get that finalized. Our target is to open 5 to 10 studios in New Zealand as an example of a viable franchise type of business. And then I just spent 5 months up in the States. My son does ski racing, so I was based up in Idaho, laying the groundwork to open studios in the States because that's where our main market is to open it in the States. So Pure Performance is a concept because there's studios for Africa. There's F45, there's Orange Theory, there's so many studios. Let me ask you this. What is a movement or an activity that brings you joy?
Running outside in the field and playing ultimate frisbee without being out of breath. Yeah,
exactly. Okay. So, what is that feeling of ultimate frisbee? And when you score a goal or something, what is that level of joy? What's that joy that brings to you? What do you feel like when you do that?
Oh, that's elation. That's, adrenaline. Feels great. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So what level of fitness do you need to have, or what level of wellness do you need to have to maintain that performance of ultimate frisbee?
A lot more than I'm doing now.
So that's what pure performance is pure performance is finding the activity that brings you the most joy and then exercising to a level and with intent to maintain that level of fitness that you can continue to do ultimate frisbee. And that's what living the pure performance life is about.
Do you have figureheads that can talk about this or clients where you can show kind of a before and after them living at the pure performance level?
Not yet. So yes and no. So we're that's what our proof of concept is doing. So I just met with my film guy and he's going to help us develop before and afters and testimonials and that story of, so for me personally, what brings me the most joy is snow skiing in super deep backcountry environments, hiking to the top of ridiculously high mountains and the skiing back down, and keeping up with my soon-to-be World Cup ski racing son.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I have a level of, I know at 47 that I have to do a certain level of exercise. And when I link it to that joy of being able to do that activity, my motivation, my enjoyment, my action inside that class is just that much higher.
Yeah, because it's tied to a purpose and it's meaningful.
Precisely. Yeah.
47 too. What you said, John, it's not, I couldn't find that online.
No, it doesn't exist. Yeah.
Okay.
It doesn't exist.
Not there.
So,
yeah.
Yeah, it's not there. My background as a physical therapist, I've created a programming system that allows someone like me who's 47 to do these classes, get that joy, and never break myself.
Mhm.
And because every single studio, F45, BFT, CrossFit,
Yep.
Orange Theory, they literally treat everyone like you're 25 and elite athlete.
Yeah,
And
that's how you get injured.
yeah, exactly.
Doing
So
those
you
crazy
can't,
exercises. Yeah.
yeah, you can't sustain that level of activity for more than 8 weeks. And then you burn out, you break down, you no longer enjoy it. And our entire system is, so I'm in the middle of creating our peer performance app that will measure your biometrics.
Uh-huh.
And so we're getting open API access for biometrics, and it will measure your biometrics based on what your joy moment is. If you're on ultimate frisbee, there'll be a profile of what level of fitness you need to have. And then it will tell you, say, Dennis, here's the classes that you need to do on a weekly basis so you can maintain your fitness level to perform at ultimate frisbee. And then it will say to you, oh, I see on your biometrics you had a rough weekend, you've been traveling, your heart rate variability is no good, your sleep cycles don't look very good. Monday, you should probably do this recovery session. Tuesday, you need to do this. Wednesday, you need to do that. So it's a self monitoring.
I have a Whoop 4. So are you like building on top of that?
Yeah.
Or these other
so we want to be able to get the important biometric data out of that to give suggestions for you to schedule your week out so that you can know that you're on track to hit those fitness targets to attend an ultimate frisbee competition.
Yeah. So John, now what you described there is a technology SaaS play as opposed to getting more members in a gym, as opposed to people that are coming.
So that's the thing. And that's what peer performance is.
They're all different businesses, right? Yeah.
Peer performance is taking a bricks and mortar studio with that technology.
Oh, I see. You're retrofitting existing models for your franchise.
Right. So peer performance is a standalone studio with specific equipment, a lot of escape equipment. And then the programming is all done in studio, but all of the technology of the app takes in all of your metrics, not just the stuff you do in studio.
Right.
And so if you're not in a physical location where a studio is located, it's going to be an online suggestion, but it's not as strong. It's not as good.
But there's still coaching because you made it a personal touch, not just some app that you download.
Precisely. But the coaching will be over time so I'm building it on an AI platform. Okay. And so over time, it will be doing AI type of coaching, but it's going to be a basic model because our coaches that are in our physical locations at our physical studios are obviously being able to see the students and the members and their data and coach to that when they come into the classes. Here's the kicker. There is no studio in the world that is successfully running a 24-hour model. If you try to go to, what time is it? 8 o'clock at night. Yeah. If you try to go to an Orange Theory or an F35 right now in your location, you can't go. It's closed.
Right.
But with our system, you will come in, you will say, I want to do the box class. You select the box class. And we've got this working. This is our proof of concept. So that's our peer performance. It's branded Flex at the moment. You can't see it. Okay. You will log into the door. The door will give you access. You'll walk in. The iPad, you'll select the boxing class. The boxing class comes up on the screens. The music comes on. The lights turn down into the nightclub type of vibe. And you could do the boxing class in the studio at 10 o'clock at night.
Oh, I see. So a self-serve model, kind of like Peloton, but not bicycles. Okay.
Yeah. So it's a self-serve 24-hour studio concept with the AI technology to give you some customization to make sure that you're reaching the goals that you want to reach on that level of, what brings you the most joy.
So I see. So that is a blended model that's very unique.
Yeah. And so if a member drops off and no longer wants to be attending the studio or they move away, they can still maintain the app presence and that fitness presence and get suggestions around that. But obviously that's going to be a much lower cost because they don't need to go to the physical studio.
Well, then it's like an app-based thing with lightweight coaching as opposed to a real studio membership.
That's right. Yeah. Exactly.
Have you done any sort of market research to see what the price point is or what the user feedback is?
Yeah, so I've done market research on price points. In New Zealand, price points for like F45, BFTs, Orange Theories ranges from $50 to $75 per week. That's about the same as in the States. But because that we're a 24-hour model, an F45 will cap out at 200 members. They can't take any more because their classes are so full, they can't really put any more in. And because we're doing a 24-hour model, our cap is closer to 500 members.
But how many people are going to come late in the evening or at 2 a.m. or lunchtime?
Well, and that's the fascinating thing, because what we tend to find is that there's a shoulder period before and after the classes. So in our model that we're running here in Papamoa, we've got people coming down. They miss the 6 o'clock class, but they do the 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, and 9 o'clock. So they're coming in at the shoulder times before and after. And then there's also a high usage of people who might not work. They do split shift, and they do roster shifts. They come in mid-afternoon, and there's not the coaching on, but they come in and do it.
Do you have any research that shows what happens when people don't have like a set time? Because I know, at least for me, I'm a novice, that if I have an appointment with the personal trainer at 8 a.m., I have to get my up early, right? But if I could just walk in whenever, then it's kind of like, well, I'll just sleep in and then I end up not doing it, right? Is there anything?
No, I don't have research on that yet. That's going to be an interesting, as we flush out, as we get more into people using. But you see what I'm saying?
Like, do you think the appointment was like, okay, it's in my diary, I have to be there at 6 p.m. because everyone else is there and I don't want to be a loser? Versus like,
yeah, well, that's right, and that's where, as our members connect with the local coaches, I think those classes are going to be very full.
Do you think the self-serve model can be close to as compelling as a group where everyone's together, doing the same thing, and there's a coach up front and we're all doing the same exercises together?
It's definitely gold standard to have the physical coach in presence and a full class. You can't beat that. You can't cheat that. You can't get around that. That said, we're getting groups of, like, we get a small group. So they've got a group of 5 mates and they're like, hey, let's all go down and do a box session at 8 p.m. And they come in, the coach isn't there, but they're having a good time with training together. So we're starting, we've only been going for 6 months. So we're still building that research. Yeah.
That is a cool fresh model. The thing about new models, because I see these all the time, is that they're neat and fresh, but then the catch-22 is it's not an adopted model. So it's a chicken and egg kind of thing, right? It's a blessing and a curse when you launch something new, because people aren't used to. I mean, they know F45 and Orange Theory and other kinds of HIIT. So
so we've got 2 points of difference on that. You're right. I hear what you're saying on that. But the one thing that I'm seeing across the board is that every single one of them, the programming is geared towards, even the marketing is geared towards treating their members like they're 25 years old.
Yeah. Where they're invincible and we're all testosterone males doing, and I'm 47, so I'm
48. I hear you. Yeah.
I'm feeling a little insecure,
Yeah.
I see how it's like, we'll meet you wherever you are. We'll cater to you, whatever. We'll adjust the system for where you are, like a personal trainer would. Yeah.
It is like a personal trainer, because we give you the suggestions of, what's the level of fitness you currently have? What's your heart rate maximums? Where's your heart rate variabilities? What level of training? Yes, you want to be in training ultimate frisbee, but you're 47 years old. You're not going to run the speed lines down the ultimate frisbee the whole time, but what level of fitness can you achieve and will you be able to achieve? And then doing these little steps and increments, because the last thing you want to be doing is going to ultimate frisbee and rupturing tearing a calf muscle, and then you're out.
Knowing what's realistic and keeping within those limits. Yeah, that would be super helpful. So it seems like the audience would also be people who are maybe not like the perfect bodybuilder, muscular 25-year-old doing Tough Mudders every weekend, flexing on Instagram sorts of people.
Yeah, you've just described only maybe 5 or 10% of the population.
Yeah. But you're not trying to go after everybody. This is not a 24-hour fitness or whatever big box. Yeah.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, it's definitely a unique thing. There's definitely a number of points of differences. Now it's just a matter of getting enough studios open to get that data, further develop our app so it's measuring correct data and giving a proper feedback back. So I've bootstrapped the whole thing and I've reached my limit of bootstrapping. And now that I'm opening a couple more studios, we're now launching into that next level of proof of concept, really getting it open in New Zealand. And then I'm back up in the States in January for the winter with my son ski racing. So I want to finish off in the first quarter of 2023. I'd like to be having pen to paper. We're looking to open our first couple studios in the US. So
in the US, so you basically are trying to pilot for the next 6 months on 5 franchise locations in New Zealand and use that to learn to put wow, okay. That's a tight timeline.
Very tight. Yeah. Well, it's going to be super tight because my proof of concept that I've got open has been open now for 6 months here in Papamoa, and I'm not going to get anything open here. I'm not going those other 5, they won't be open until first quarter 2023.
Wow. Well, that's tricky too with the holiday season and everything else, which is good and bad.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
From a marketing standpoint, you have something that's very easy, but also very hard because it's new, but people will go after this, the angle about the personalized coaching whenever you want. There's an app, so it customizes you. You have someone giving you feedback, but until you have these success stories, and by the way, I know you said, you're getting a professional videographer who's going to collect testimonials, and I'm sure they're going to film in a professional sort of way. But what I see happen all the time, John, is people will blow 20 grand, 30 grand producing cinema, movie theater like that, because most professional videographers produce that kind of stuff and it looks great if you're trying to produce a film and win an award. But if your goal is business and you want to get new members and you want people to download the app and you want people to sign up and talk to someone for 15 minutes, or you want them to watch a pre-recorded webinar or take some sort of business action, that professional kind of stuff usually doesn't work if you're looking for business results. Right. The model that works now, especially for anyone under 40, and if you're using social media, is something that looks the exact opposite of a commercial. So you can still film all that professional stuff, but you have to make B-roll stuff where it's around stories, where it feels like it's behind the scenes, where it's, the different instructors are saying, this is what we're doing today. I'm so excited that John's coming in because he's a ski guy and his son, and here's his story, and let's talk. Oh, when is your thing? Oh, in January I'm going to Idaho. Oh, wow, that's so cool. So collecting those kinds of things are what's going to be key when you're launching new markets, where you have that kind of social proof from people that they're not a Cali Muscle or a Frank Zane or the people that Matthew's interviewing, because those are obviously celebrity level sorts of people that people look at this and say, well, they're being paid to say that, or that guy's muscles are unrealistic compared to what I don't identify with that person. Right. Yeah. So I would just caution you, because you said the word testimonial, and that's a word we really don't like to use, because you go to a webpage and you see a list of all these testimonials. Do you have any sort of faith? You already know what it's going to say. Why even click play on any of those, right?
Yeah, I don't even listen to them. You're right.
Yeah, it's just like asking for, you want to hire somebody and you get 3 references. Don't ever call them, because they're only going to pick people who are going to say, oh, John's really good, Yeah. So instead of testimonials, you want to collect stories. And there's 5 questions we like to ask on how you collect the stories. And so it's, how in a story is how X, which is the particular archetype, how John achieved why, this result, like being able to ski backcountry and hike the highest, open peaks or whatever, via this particular program that we customized through functional training and knees over toes, or, whatever it is. Yeah. And so you show story about how this person achieved this result using this method or program. And then that becomes very informative instead of a testimonial. Oh, my coach was so good and they cared about me so much and I got some great results. I mean, that doesn't work.
Right. Yeah. Okay. I hear you. And that's where I'm struggling. Like I'm really struggling to get the stories and the message. Like my Facebook page is terrible. My web page is shockingly bad. It's not
And I
practically
already saw,
non-existent.
I looked at all of this yesterday.
Yeah. I'm not getting the story out. I'm struggling to I'm struggling to figure out a way to get it out so that I can share of what's going on in Papamoa, as well as
Yeah.
what even describing. Like I've got investors looking at it and they ask me, well, what is peer performance and what does that look like and why should I invest in it?
They
And
want to see the stories. They want to see the clients. They want to see the transformations. They want to see the day-to-day. I went to the website. I looked at Flex. I looked at what you have on Google and Facebook and YouTube, and it doesn't tell me the story at all, as you know.
Yeah.
But I'll
Yeah.
tell you, I'll give you this one thing that will solve your problem for you on this. So you're approaching it from this mindset that you're producing a TV commercial, and therefore you need to hire someone who is a professional person with a fancy camera and all kinds of technical technique, when really all you need is this.
Yeah.
And you take selfie videos, 30-second, 1 minute long videos, and you're collecting stories, not because it's an ad, we're going to use it for advertising, but because it's like you're talking to a friend who's walking along with you and accompanying you as you're driving to one of the locations, as you're talking to investors, as you're, talking to Matthew, and you're overseeing other people that are coming through the program. You're building your app. And so they're accompanying you on a journey, just like, like a Kickstarter, right? What makes a good Kickstarter is they tell a really good story. You feel like you're a friend of the person who has this idea, and you support this thing because you also believe in this. So you have to enroll people. And the best way to do that is you take amateur selfie videos along the way. It doesn't mean you become Gary Vaynerchuk and one of those like insufferable a-holes where it's just like the cell phone's on the whole time. I'm not saying that, but just the key moments. You take little stories, and when you collect those, then you can have video editors and VAs and other people repurpose it. And so that as long as you're the content collector, you're just collecting little stories on your cell phone, then you can have a team of people push those stories. You record those stories once, and then that same piece of content can be repurposed into YouTube and Twitter and Facebook and TikTok and blogs and all. You don't have to create content separately for each of these channels. You create it once and then it gets repurposed. But you don't have to do the repurposing unless your time's worth $3 an hour, right? It's better to have someone in the Philippines or Pakistan or whatever, do that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the way you want to think about this. And then as you're collecting stories, as you are, opening new locations or talking about franchising, or you have questions like, oh, should we do this logo or that logo? Or, what do you guys think about so-and-so story where they like to work out at 9 p.m. because they have a flexible shift when they get off work, or these 5 guys that want to do boxing, or what do you guys think about how we're using it? Should the AI do this or should it do that? And you're asking in an open kind of way, looking for feedback instead of an obvious marketing promo like, oh, look at this new thing we have, right?
Right.
That is what's going to work. And that has nothing to do with technology or, having agencies or software, right? I'm a software guy. I built the analytics of the search engine 20 some years ago. So I'm very, very biased towards wanting to build software to solve problems. But everything you've told me here, John, is not a software or even a marketing problem. It's a strategy problem.
Right. Okay.
I'd love to help you with the marketing, but you've got to solve the strategy issue. And that means you've got to collect the content for social proof where we can see what it's like. Your investors can see what it's like. Potential customers can see what it's like because they can see other people that are in that same situation. Maybe they got injured doing CrossFit because some of that stuff was a little bit extreme, And maybe they're not pushing tires over or doing these crazy pull-up sorts of, lifting heavy things and breaking my shoulder kind of stuff. Maybe they don't like, they don't want to be in the whole like fraternity thing where we're all like screaming together, or maybe that's not. And so when you tell these kinds of stories, that's if you can put together these things, and it's not that hard, but it does require you as the figurehead to get it going. And then I'm sure you have other coaches, other people that are trained in what is this John Kennedy, muscular, whatever things that like other people that are experts, that's what's going to distinguish you, and that will be your marketing material. So if you can produce that content, it can only come from you. Like we have teams of people that can edit it and run ads against it and put landing pages together and collect emails and all that kind of stuff. But your hurdle is, as you admitted like 3 times, you've got to get that content together. If you can get that content together and you can tell stories along the way of these customers, of other coaches, of, you know, the general managers that run different locations and like what you're up to, if you can do that, then all the other things can fall into place.
Okay. Yep. Because I have been collecting a lot of content, but I didn't know what to do with it. So
you just got to store it on your iPhone. You want to see like how I do it?
Yeah, because I have little stories where I've done little clips and things. I've posted a couple on that peer performance thing of me like climbing to the top of the mountain and things.
Yeah.
But what I haven't done is what you just like. I just had a meeting with my head coach and we talked about what brings him joy and what he does to bring joy and why he wants to share that with his class.
You should ask every client what brings you joy. And that's the great way to start the story. And those are all just selfie videos with good sound. That's the only exception. Good sound, but selfie videos. As
I take all of this data, have all of these stories and things like that, what's the next step? Like, how do you mentioned, you know, getting VAs and things like that, but that kind of blows my mind a little bit. Like, I just don't know. I don't know where to go, if that makes sense. So
here, let me show you something. So without the ingredients, we can't cook. All right. I view the VAs as like cooks in the kitchen, but you have to bring the meat. So if we look at, let's see, look at your snapshot report. And meanwhile, let me show you, because we teach from example. This is not theoretical. We've spent $1 billion running ads using these techniques. So look, this is off of my phone. This is Google Photos. So I pay $10 a month and it automatically sucks whatever's on my phone up to the cloud. And I have the same thing on Apple and Amazon. So all of my stuff is automatically uploaded to the cloud. And I pay $10 a month for 4 different services. So I'm paying $50 a month. And you could see, you know, I had lunch with Matthew a couple days ago. And I'm making videos along the way, interviewing other people. I'm at conferences. I've crossed the Atlantic 6 times in the last 6 weeks. These guys, for example, help college students get into the right college. This guy's a former Stanford admissions officer. So if you want to get into a place like Stanford, this guy says, here's what the different tips are. And these are walking, talking, selfie style videos shot on my phone where I coached him through it, right? And this is way more authentic and believable than what looks like an obvious ad. Say, hey, if you want to get into the top college, you need to start with Empowerly College Counseling. Sign up now to talk to an advisor, and we'll help your child get into the like. It's not like that. It's real stories from different people talking about what you really need to know, like what college admissions officers won't tell you, or when extracurricular stuff works or it doesn't. And this is my friend who's the top life insurance sales guy in the United States. And then this is the president of the financial services, the largest financial services organization in the United States. And we're collecting stories. This guy's a #1 real estate agent in Colorado. He sold 500 homes last year. And we're collecting stories. All these guys. This guy is a chiropractor that does functional medicine and all these other things. Those chiropractors are the ones who love to do all these other things too, right? And we're talking to, and here's one. He happens to have a lot of Muslim clients, because this guy here is the Muslim leader in Minnesota, the state of Minnesota. Whatever the name of the most important guy is in their hierarchy, that's who this guy is. And
what's going on is that,
so he's asking what's going on in the community, but then midway through,
in the streets of California.
So then this guy here says,
the people in the street who have no issues, no understanding of governance. So Islamic democracy, the Kibar ulama.
We're talking about Islam, but now he shifts to
enter with the phone. Yes, in the house's chamber, there's different contributions, and just even sometimes so humanitarian. Some people don't have resources. They walk in here, he never turns anybody away. So just imagine if we have the means of expanding this, and we get.
So he's talking about the chiropractor, and everyone
train people.
Everyone in the community knows about him.
Even yesterday, one of our guys was
right.
Yesterday,
there's a story.
And took him to emergency. I've not even spoken to him. Maybe he will end up coming to you because they all know you. You know, so
does he know he's being recorded?
Yeah, he's got a microphone on him.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And I'm the one recording it on my cell phone.
Right. Yeah, it's so authentic.
He's known this guy for 15 something years, and they have never made video together. So this guy here on the left, Dr. Mark Soley, his business is strictly off of referral because he's well known among first responders. This is the guy who like all the Muslims look up to. So he's got this huge thing. They built multiple mosques. Dr. Soley makes donations to fund their soccer teams, and he goes to pray at the temple or whatever it is that they do inside the mosque. But he's in tight with these guys. So we literally take these videos and we publish them as his podcast. And it doesn't look like advertising. This is what I'm talking about.
No, it doesn't at all.
So imagine you're a Muslim and you're in the state of Minnesota, and you know who this guy is because he's the big guy. And you see that he's talking with Dr. Mark, and he's saying, let's see if I can find, there's a couple things where he says some incredible things.
And it's rendering great service to our people. And he knows his job. He knows his job. So whatever we can do to promote his business, because I believe the better this business, the better our community. He gives, he shares with the common people. The young people come to him. He's part of sometime even join the association, the football, they call it soccer team, all these different contributions, and just even sometimes so humanitarian. Some people don't have resources. They walk in here, he never turns anybody away.
See? Now, this is what I'm telling you about the difference between a testimonial and a story, right? Because here they're talking about how long they've known each other and what's kind of going on in the neighborhood. And they have this conference. I know you're in New Zealand, but maybe you've heard of George Floyd and a lot of these things that are going on with the police and Black Lives.
Yeah.
This is one of the top Black influencers in America. And he put on a symposium inviting the mayor, the attorney general, all these other politicians, right? Because he's one of them too. He's a politician basically. Yeah. And so when this guy who's got power in the community is talking about how he and Mark have been friends for 15 plus years, and now it's captured. Now people have known about it, but it wasn't until recently that this was captured on video, right? And then interviewing these other members, and so we're taking lots of these different stories along the way, a lot of behind the scenes stuff. Okay. And so what I do just is as proof to show that it doesn't require someone who's a professional videographer. It's just Dennis with an iPhone. I'm interviewing from the top people on the planet. Yep. And this is what's growing our business and their businesses. And it shows who else you're with. This guy, Rihan Alawala, has 12 million followers. He's the #1 guy in Pakistan, creating jobs, which is what we care about. This guy's the Tony Robbins of Pakistan with bazillions of followers in a conference. I'm on his podcast, right? Yeah. So I'm constantly sharing stories. This guy just sold his company for what, $120 million or something like that. One of the top guys in the world of tech. And he just got off a plane, saw me in the lobby of the hotel, and we got together and I'm asking him questions like, hey, Lloyd, wow, what are you up to? And I'm just collecting this.
I'm here with my buddy, Lloyd Lobo, known him for years. He is the startup king, and he just had his last day at Boast.
Hey, thank you so much, Dennis. It's been a great pleasure knowing you over the years, working with you in different capacities, speaking at conferences together.
So then I'm asking him questions like, well, how do you deal with scaling a company from nothing to 200 employees? And how do you know that was the right time to exit? And what are you doing next? And what advice do you have for other entrepreneurs that are dealing with a lot of stress because of investors and funding and release deadlines and building software and all this? So all this stuff. And here, just to show you a completely different example. This is my friend. I'd not seen him in 25 years. We went to school together at the London School of Economics. And this is the kind of guy where his family is very wealthy. Like they own the import and export of tobacco and other sorts of things in the UK. And right. the guy collects watches that cost as much as luxury automobiles. Okay. And he's got lots of, I remember when I went to school with him at the LSE, he was playing on stage with Sting, who's a musician. And I remember I remember flying from London to LA to go pick up a guitar from Sting and bring it back to him. Right. So then this guy, a few years ago, he said, you know what, most coffee tastes like garbage. So he went on an expedition to find the world's best coffee. And he went to the different auctions. Of course, there's auctions and there's grading of coffee, just like the wine spectator, 100-point scale. And he found the world's most expensive coffee, and he started reselling the world's most expensive coffee. So here he's showing, here's what's the world's most expensive coffee.
So this is the second most prized coffee in the world. It is the Best of Panama 2020 champion. And we purchased it for just over $1,300 per pound. So that's pretty much what I'm holding in my hand right now. There's only 100 pounds of this coffee available. And it scored, I don't remember the score, but it was in the high 90s.
You can see that here he's telling stories, right? This is
This is officially the world's rarest and most expensive coffee. We bought it at auction. We paid $2,500, just over $2,500 per pound. So for that, it scored 94.75 points. So it was the highest scoring coffee in the Best of Panama competition. Now, not a lot of people know that, but coffee or Arabica is actually graded using a 100-point system, which was created by the Specialty Coffee Association together with the Coffee Quality Institute. The higher the point score of a coffee, the tastier it will be. I'm Amir from Difference Coffee, and I'd love to invite you on a journey of discovery of taste.
And then you see all the videos of him and the Michelin chefs. So if you go to, you know how the Michelin restaurants are, right? Those are the fancy ones.
Yeah.
He dominates in the Michelin restaurants. So you go to any of these places and say, what kind of coffee do you have? They'll say, we use Difference coffee because it is the best coffee. And it's not some Starbucks coffee. It is the, anything less than $50 a pound, basically commodity coffee. So the best coffee is never sold in the supermarket. Okay. It's very expensive. The Japanese buy all of it. So there's stories here, right? There's so many different stories. There's stories like me at the press conference where we're talking about creating jobs and all these journalists are here. This is just a few weeks ago. Speaking at conferences, interviewing these other people. There's so many different stories. Like I've been collecting stories along the way, and it's just literally me and my cell phone or other people that are holding the cell phone, and people can see this is what it's like, right?
Yeah.
This guy here runs the largest hotel chain in Pakistan, and we're interviewing him about what it's like. And here's one of his new properties, and we're walking through the different rooms, and he's talking about that. Right? We're having breakfast together and saying, well, what advice do you have for other people that are starting businesses? Whatever it might be, just interviewing them in a non-advertising kind of way, which builds their brand and builds our brand. And you can see that this goes on and on and on, right? In whatever country, whoever I'm with, where I am living and breathing, John, what it means to collect these kinds of, this is not theoretical. I live and breathe this. And we have lots of entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
So Matthew and I are doing this all the time. Right? We're collecting videos. We're making interactive exam. You can see it. This is all filmed on my phone. This is an interactive one where Matthew says, would you like Dennis to lift a 100-pound dumbbell, or would you like me to do that? Or I'll just show you just for fun. This is a clip. So
Hey, so what do you think? You think I'm going to be able to press these dumbbells? Let me know. Yes or no.
So we have the buttons over there. So it's interactive video. So then if you say yes, or is it no? I forgot which one it was.
No, I'm going to do it anyway.
Fantastic.
Yeah. And so I do the same thing too, right? Just for fun. But that's a way of reusing video for interactivity. We can do choose your own adventure videos. They're very easy to do, right?
Yeah.
So these are all ones that I've done with Matthew. Matthew on stage, Matthew working out, Matthew coming to these different conferences behind the scenes as we're filming. So here we're filming an actual professional level podcast, but we're showing what it's like behind the scenes so we can tell stories. So this is Crystal have to ran social media for Infusionsoft, which is a big marketing company, right? So here we're talking about these things. Like name, just for fun. So John, name a city in the world, or name an activity, or name a food, or name anything.
Seattle.
Seattle. So there's different videos. Oh, here's my friend who runs they're a chiropractor. And we've got videos of adjustments, videos of showing these different machines, looking at your spine. How is one foot, longer than the other? And these are ones that we then cut up. So some of these might be 30, 40 minutes, but we're going to pull out those key little snippets, right? Okay. You see, like here, this is a 30-minute thing, but we can cut out different pieces from it.
Yeah. Gotcha.
See, now we're talking about, this is looking at my spine, right? Or whatever. And we're talking about it. And obviously no HIPAA issues because it's my data and I said it's okay.
Once done anything.
But it just shows behind the scenes, right?
For the rest of your body. Okay.
What it's
So
like
it's our
to go to a
job.
chiropractor. So that's what I don't have is basically my coaches taking little snippets of videos during the classes and just gathering data while people are enjoying their movement and doing things like that. And then me talking to coaches, me talking to members that are coming through, that behind the scenes stuff.
But the key with behind the scenes, so I wanted to show you versus just tell you, because I think I could just try to tell you all day long, but until you see how it is, it doesn't, a lot of people, they will capture people working out or whatnot, but that's the commercial. What you got to do is you put a microphone right here, like a Rode Wireless Go, and then just ask them about what they're doing and how they're feeling and why are they here and what's going on and those kinds of, like, before the class starts or, whatever. You have to capture those kind of, how long you've been a trainer. Like, you have to capture those casual kinds of moments, and that requires them talking. So if you're not asking them questions and they're not talking, you could have people doing all sorts of workouts, but it's not the same thing because it's not creating a direct connection like what I'm showing you here. That's what you've got to do. We take this video, we edit it, we chop it up, we run ads against it. There's lots of things we can do, but you have to give us the ingredients. That's the main thing. If you can do that, we can do all of our stuff.
Okay. Yep. All right. Well, I will. I mean, I think I'm going to go back to the videos that I have and see what I've got and then start producing stuff, because we're kind of on a 6-month time frame. Over the next 6 months, we're going to be opening new studios. We're going to be talking to and developing new processes. We're still developing our app. Meeting
but John, can you do the behind the scenes? We're like, hey, we're driving over to this place where we're opening a new studio. Come check out this location. Let's see what it's like, right? Come on, let's go.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
I do. Yeah, I hear that. Yeah, yes, because I haven't been doing that.
Yeah. You got to start doing that now. You might even want to over record, because it doesn't mean we're going to use every single thing that you make. But if you don't capture it, then we have nothing to work with.
One quick thing, if you go back to my website, just your advice around, if you click the Bulletproof Knee tab, so that's a 4-week system that you take, you take a course. Basically, I've uploaded the videos. It's got 4 videos in it. And then you get a movement program to fix your knee, to basically create bulletproof knees.
Have you seen like knees over toes guys and other folks like that?
Yeah, well, there's actually principles. It's funny. There's principles in here that follow some of the knees over toes because they use some of the same exercise programming that I do as a physical therapist.
But you see, they're blowing up because they're actually demonstrating exercises using video, and you just have pictures, right?
I realized that. Yeah.
Show people, okay, so great. You have this dude and he's doing some of these exercises to increase ankle flexibility or whatever, right? But the reason why I bring up this knees over toes guys is they're not just telling you, they're not just showing a picture. They're actually saying, okay, now do the exercise like this. And now look at the difference. And here's why we're doing it this way. And so they're, instead of having like a landing page, like, okay, here's this thing, pay $49. They're actually giving you little free samples basically. And then you like the free sample so much, then you have to buy the course. But here you've not given me anything.
No, I've missed that. Yeah.
That's great. You have this dude here, he's, whatever, shaving this wood, but that doesn't, there's no story. He's not looking at
Doesn't
me.
mean
He looks like
anything.
he's a model. The way the lighting's done, this looks like it's not real. I'm sure this is like a real guy, but to me, this doesn't look like a real thing.
Seen right through it. Totally. Okay. Yep.
Yeah, like this looks like a commercial. This guy's posing,
Yeah.
Nobody takes a picture like this, right?
No. Yeah.
It's not real. Yeah.
Cool.
Like this is real, then this doesn't really tell me anything. It's like, oh, this guy is out skiing. Okay, well, whatever. Okay, fine. You said here you go skiing in Idaho. Okay, well, what does that have to do with any of this other stuff here? Nothing.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. No, that's perfect. That's the type of feedback I was looking for. Cool.
All right. Well, there you go.
Okay.
There's your free consulting. Hopefully that was helpful.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to start collecting that stuff around that. Where to from here? What would you suggest?
You just got to get your content together and then, make sure your spelling is correct and these other sorts of things. And then it can feel like a burden because you didn't realize you were missing these things because you thought maybe you could hire a couple video people and magically the rest would, I promise you, things are not going to just magically happen the way you want. All right. It needs to be done the right way. And you need to know about that before you start, it's better to know about that now than in 6 months from now. It's like, oh, geez, I wish I knew about that, 6 months, I wish you told me 6 months ago. So what you want to do is think about for pure performance, your knees and skiing and functional fitness and, personalized nutrition or whatever the different things are and who are the other people that and they don't have to be necessarily, they could be even competitors, they could be they don't even have to be athletes or coaches, although you want to sprinkle them in here. And then the content that you create, as you're creating it, some of it will be spontaneous because something just happens and you pull out your phone and, oh, that was really cool what this person just said about their story. But as you're collecting content, you're going to try to organize it around the structure of the topic wheel. We have a whole course around how to do this. And Matthew knows about it.
I've taken that. I took that during lockdown.
You did? Okay, good. Did you fill it out?
I did. And then a staff member got into my Google Drive and deleted the entire folder.
Why?
You tell me.
That's ridiculous. Can you recover it?
He thought, no, I haven't been able to. I've lost everything. I took I took this one.
Yeah.
And I took the 60-second why video one.
Hey, so you already know what we're looking for. Take your 1 minute videos, arrange it in the structure, and now we have something to work with.
I've spent since I talked to Matthew, I've spent the last 5 days searching everywhere. And it's gone. I've lost it all.
So you think it's gone, as in like you're going to have to you're probably not going to be able to find it on some hard drive somewhere or something.
No, I've checked all my hard drives. That's what I've been doing for the last 2 days because I knew that you were going to bring this stuff up. And and I was like, I'm so gutted because I spent a lot of time on building a wheel like this, a topic wheel. I filled it out and I scanned it. I had it all saved in a single folder on Google Drive. And she moved it to
where, or there's it's not like on your phone or on another computer. Like that's it.
No. Huh? Yeah. Yeah. Because once it got deleted in Google, I didn't realize it got deleted. And then I think it went into the bin and then the bin got,
Yeah, and once it's gone, it's gone. I always have like 3 or 4 backups in all sorts of places because I'm so paranoid about it.
I've got a OneDrive account and I've got a Dropbox account, and I've gone through all of that. I thought it was backed up into my Dropbox, and I haven't been able. I'm going to search again because I'm pretty gutted. I might have to get access to all that stuff again. So
check your Dropbox settings because there's one setting where it says if you delete it on your computer, then delete it everywhere else. So as long as that setting's not checked, there may be a copy somewhere.
But I'll check.
I have Dropbox and Google and Amazon and Apple iCloud. I have like way overkill because I'm so afraid of stuff being deleted because my stuff does get deleted by the VAs accidentally. So we have to restore from it. Happens a lot. Surprising.
Yeah. So it's at the moment, it's a real tough lesson for me to learn, but I'm going to keep looking.
Well, the good news is that you can make it better the second time around. And plus the content that you're about to create is going to be your most powerful content anyway. And now you know the technique. I guess you said you took the 1 minute video $1 a day courses, which is great. But until you actually put it out there, until you tell the stories, until you test it using $1 a day, you're not going to know what stories resonate.
Oh, that's right.
The best story could be like you and your son going to Idaho and, skiing fresh powder, and you have this ephemeral moment that just sort of happened magically and you captured it. Who knows? We don't know. We just need to test it.
Yeah.
Or maybe you think that's a great story and maybe you and your son think so, but everyone else doesn't. I mean, who knows? Let's find out.
You don't know until you test it. Yeah.
Yeah. This whole thing is about, you see this outside of the wheel has so many things on it, because I've spent so much time in online marketing and so much money that I've learned that I have no idea what I'm talking about. We just need to put it out there, and the system's going to tell us which one's the winner. You don't know. I don't know. We just let the system tell us.
Okay.
Cool.
All right.
Well, so the
Cool.
next,
Well,
you collect the content, and then we can look at assembling these different pieces. You have many things going on, so I would love to choose one thing, like, the promotion of the new, you're opening up, 5 studios in New Zealand, maybe focus on membership there, or later focus on getting people into the app. Or I want to choose one objective at a time. I don't want to do 5 objectives, because then we're going to do nothing. And then to win against that objective, I need to see lots of stories. If you don't give us lots of stories, then it's going to be very hard for us to get people to sign up to whatever the thing is we want them to do.
all right. Well, I'm going to get stuck into that. Yeah.
All right, cool. And then this is a Zoom call. We always record all the Zoom calls so we can send it to our folks later. So I'll send this to you. It'll take like 20 minutes for the thing to send it back to me. And I'll send it to you, and then you can look over some of the examples and the things we talked about. And if you have another marketing person, I highly recommend, if you don't have a project manager or some kind of assistant, somebody to stay on top of the different details, because if it's on you and you're running around raising funding, opening up new locations, doing stuff in that, like you're going to have trouble trying to do all the things that need to happen. So I would recommend that's your second thing, is find somebody who can be your project manager, keep you accountable, make sure we do all the things we need to do.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for that. Like I said, I've kind of been, I don't know if it's called stalking, but I definitely follow you on a lot of the social stuff. So,
well, good.
And I've finally, now that I have that proof of concept, we've been open for 6 months, and I've kind of reached that critical mass where I know that this project is going to be a go. And then the next step now is to get in line. So that, I don't want to be 6 months down the road and you go, you should have done this, you should have done this, you should have done this. So,
and I'll ask you, where are the videos?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So,
and maybe even like step number 3, I don't want to put too many things on your plate, but maybe you can enlist like a front desk girl or one of the other coaches to help you collect these things. You don't want all the burden be on you. And it's obviously nice to have other people that are doing it, just because you have different angles and different personalities. And people will resonate. You could make you and 4 other coaches could make the exact same video about the same topic, and it'll resonate differently. So you feel good about what we need to do next?
I do. Yeah.
Right. Awesome. We already have our training. So you know that there's nothing new. I have said nothing new in the last 10 years. It's been the same thing. This is like gravity. I know it works. It's not, there's no question about, in my mind, about whether the model works. The question is, can you get the things that we need? And if you can, then we'll just do the paint by the numbers.
Love that.
Awesome.
I love it. Love it. Cool.
Awesome, John. It was good chatting with you.
All right. Definitely. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Cheers.
All right.
Yeah.